Hello viewer, and welcome to episode 1 of my Sketchy Stories series. Today I'll be going through the backstory behind this drawing of Goku facing off against Frieza. Also, just in case, spoiler warning, in case you haven't finished watching the whole Frieza saga of DBZ, it's been roughly 30 years since, but just in case, again, spoiler warning. So, why did I draw this? The simple answer is nostalgia. As a kid, smaller kid, watching Goku turning Super Saiyan for the first time and taking on Frieza was, and still is, iconic to me to this day. I went through a wave of all these emotions, seeing the reveal of the Super Saiyan, excited to finally see Goku dish out some poetic justice against Frieza, who, despite all his best efforts to avoid facing the Super Saiyan, was finally facing a Super Saiyan. These emotions I speak of include overwhelming desperation I felt vicariously through Goku and friends, using all these different techniques and strategies against Frieza. His underwater Kamehameha, Kaioken, and Spirit Bomb still weren't able to take him down. Next was the unshakable sense of dread and rage, again vicariously through Goku, when Frieza killed Krillin and took out Piccolo. This build-up became fully unleashed when Goku fully transformed, and from then on there was a great sense of relief, knowing that Goku had one last trump card to beat Frieza. The whole back and forth fight between Frieza and Goku was pretty cool. There was no real doubt Goku could destroy Frieza, but there was still this tension Frieza could get the upper hand. In my opinion, Goku as a Super Saiyan definitely had the power to kill Frieza, but Frieza still had some tricks up his sleeves to edge out a win. What helped raise the stakes was that Namek was on the brink of blowing up, thanks to Frieza of course. Anyway, in short, Goku wins, but both Goku and Frieza survive. You can read or watch the Frieza saga to see how things played out. Totally recommend you read the manga, or you can watch the DBZ Kai anime dub. Now that you know my inspiration, here's a details breakdown of the drawing itself. I opted to go with a split screen drawing so that was easier to see both Goku and Frieza's faces. My intention was to have them doing some sort of beam clash, and this drawing would be a close-up of both their faces. This would be my unique flair to the drawing, as throughout the Goku vs Frieza fight, there wasn't any notable beam clash with Goku or Frieza. The closest was Goku doing a Kamehameha against Frieza's charging ki attack, which you can totally check out in the manga or anime. This I hoped would help differentiate from other fan art of the whole Goku vs Frieza fight. I did a vertical split down the middle to signify that the battle could go either way in one's favour, and this is of course due to my opinion that Goku could win with his greater battle power, or Frieza with his, let's say, cunning tactics. My intention for Goku's facial expression was to be one who's enraged but still laser focused. I imagined Goku's mindset would be of anger after Frieza had Krillin, his best friend, but he was still focused and wary of any sneaky tricks Frieza might have in store for him. In contrast, I gave Frieza the expression of clenching his teeth to imply he was struggling against Goku's Super Saiyan form, but is still managing for now. I intentionally made Frieza shoot with his right hand versus Goku with his left hand to further emphasize the power difference between them. To my knowledge, both Goku and Frieza are right-handed, and I wanted to show Goku was still enough of a match against Frieza despite using his less dominant hand. The lava erupting behind Goku was there to further emphasize his rage, and the smoke background behind Frieza was there mainly to emphasize the split screen aspect of the drawing to contrast against the lava. Matching Goku and Frieza's hand position was also intentional, as it was kind of a homage to the Dragon Ball Super episode number 131, which was the last episode of the Universal Survival Tournament. You can check it out to see what I mean near the end of the episode. All I'll say that it involves a very unlikely team-up. The final slogan, Goku vs Frieza, didn't plan it on Namek, I felt was appropriate given that in the context of the situation, many unexpected things did occur. For instance, Goku turned Super Saiyan unexpectedly, and Frieza apparently didn't expect to survive Goku's last-ditch Spirit Bomb. I also wanted to loosely reference Namek blowing up, where that definitely wasn't expected. So yeah, I think I've justified myself enough. To be clear though, in terms of fourth wall breaking storytelling, it was definitely a well written and well planned story arc. Originally my slogan started with the question, what made Goku turn Super Saiyan for the first time? And the answer, or the punchline, was because Frieza had Krillin, his best friend. Of course it was really wordy and it was kind of a dig at Krillin, so I went with the didn't plan it on Namek slogan instead. Also, I wanted to free up that pun, the Krillin pun, for when I would draw Krillin someday, in which, spoilers, I did, but that's for another story. So that's all the nitty gritty details behind my drawing. Hopefully you will Goku appreciate the drawing more. Of course, while my puns are almost close to perfect, I can admit the drawing could do with some improvements if I were to draw this again. First off are the smoothing out of the character outlines, especially noticeable with the drawing of Frieza's head. And there are also some penetrating lines to touch up around Frieza's ear with the smoke background that could have been ashed out better. Frieza's shoulder could have been more rounded smoothly, and the orbs could have been drawn to have a better contrast to the shoulder. Of course, I feel also that aligning Frieza's front shoulder with his shoulder line could be improved, and I think Frieza's head could be aligned better with the torso. Speaking of torso, I reckon it was drawn proportionally smaller than Frieza's head and arms, which definitely contributed to the misalignment of the head and torso. And I feel it's probably the same with Goku's head and torso, though not as much, where I think Goku's head was drawn a bit too wide for my liking. And speaking of Goku, his Super Saiyan hair I feel should have been drawn longer to better match Goku's head proportions. Of course, despite these setbacks, I am happy with the way I drew the details on Goku and Frieza's torso, especially with the shoulder definitions and the chest lines. I did like the detailing of Goku's ear, and I managed to align Frieza's and Goku's blasting hands, which was my main focus of the drawing. So there you have it. I like how my drawing turned out, definitely could do with a touch up or two, and I'm sure there's definitely other improvements that you can point out to me. Well, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you grew a greater appreciation for my fan art, then thanks, I did my job. Or if you enjoyed the background noise I provided while doing something else, that's awesome too. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.